You know, I'm going to tell you something you might not have known about me. I used to do one-to-one self-improvement coaching. It was like the first part of like the business that I did on YouTube, where people would pay me to hop onto a video call with them and I'd listen to their problems and I'd try and give them some advice. I don't do this anymore. I don't really have anything to sell you. But I used to do this when we just had like, 1,000, 2,000 subscribers. And very interestingly, there was an older gentleman who actually bought my package. He was like 45 years old and he wanted help to lose weight. So he said, in his words, he used to be like fit and young like me, but then as the years went on, he packed on like the pounds, he's married and stuff, and he just stopped like exercising as much. And he was a really nice guy. Like, he was very like supportive. He'd give me a bunch of like compliments on the work that I was doing, and he said it was very important. We started to talk about his eating habits. What we're talking about here with his story will be relatable to you, even if the thing that you want to improve on is video games, for example. So I'm asking him, what kind of things do you eat? What do you do which is causing like this fat gain? So he was very overweight. And he started telling me his diet. So in the morning he'll be kind of nice, he'll eat the right things, but slowly as the hours go by, he'd just get intense cravings out of nowhere. He'd maybe get a feeling of loneliness or feeling a little bit depressed. And this is, whilst he lives with his wife, he truly did love his wife. Their relationship seemed to be good with me, but he had a feeling of loneliness and, some like internal psychological negativity throughout the day. And that would then cause him to almost seek comfort in his diet. And then he'd binge eat thousands and thousands of calories. And then I asked him what he had done so far, which is a really good question to ask. If you're ever trying to help someone, if I can give you a very quick tip before we get to the rest of the video, always just ask lots and lots of questions. You should barely do any of the talking. If you're trying to help a friend or help anyone who needs your help, literally just ask as many questions as possible and let them do quite literally 95% of the talking. Because if you really want to help them, you want them to think of the idea themselves and you just kind of lead them to it. It's the best way to help someone. I learned this over like a bunch of reading and everything. So then I asked him another question. And I said, okay, what have you done so far to try and improve this? And he says, I've tried to like sign up for the gym and maybe I go twice, but then I just kind of don't do it. And with my diet, I've tried to, improve my diet and eat cleaner, but it just feels unnatural. And then I knew exactly what to help him with. It would have been really cool if I had this object, but I told him to imagine a rubber band. So if you imagine this right now, imagine a rubber band. If we pull one side of this rubber band, this is what you've been doing to try and stop your bad habits. This pull here, you've been doing the real world activities. To quit watching porn, you've downloaded the porn blocker. To quit playing video games, you've uninstalled the video game, haven't you? To quit eating junk food and to lose some weight, you've went to the gym and you've, tried to throw away the junk food. You've done this thing, right? So you've pulled the rubber band up this way. You have done the things of the real world. But guess what? Eventually, the rubber band snaps and goes back to its starting point. You can't hold this tension forever. This is tension. This is unnatural. This is what we've been doing all this time. It feels unnatural. It feels like we have to pull it this way and there's always tension to snap back to this starting point. Another analogy I gave to this same gentleman was that he was swimming upstream. So, like in a river or whatever, like he's going upstream and it's harder because the water's hitting his face and pushing him back upstream. And yeah, you can make some progress, but eventually you get tired and you're gonna go back down to the natural flow of the stream. So I said to him, we need to flip this around. We need to change the direction of the stream entirely. We need to not move this side of the rubber band, the real world activities that we focused on all this time, those website blockers, this idea of, yeah, I'm just not gonna buy the junk food today. We don't need to move this because we've tried this so many times. Bro, how many times, we don't have studies for this, but you know that this is true, right? Haven't most people wanted to like lose weight? Haven't most people wanted to go on like a fat loss journey, especially in the New Year's? And haven't most people wanted to get fit and go to the gym? And most of them, 90% of people literally never make significant progress in their fitness journey. They go right back to this starting point. That stream pushes them all the way back. So the answer is clear when it's explained like this. We need to change, not this side of the rubber band, but this starting point. We don't need to tell someone, here's how to swim upstream even faster, because that can be nice and they can make a little bit more progress, but eventually the stream will push them back down. We need to move the entire stream and change its direction. How can we do that? How can we change your starting point? How can we change which way the river flows? Well, it's not in the physical world around us. It's mental. And once you understand this, you might be a little bit shocked of how easy and fast it was. What we need to do is change your starting point. You know what the issue was for this gentleman? His starting point was, in his words, a fat man. That is how he talked about himself. That's how he saw himself, as a fat man. I'm quoting this. I'm not being insulting. This is what he used to call himself. A fat man goes on a run, does some dieting, he tries to make a little bit of progress. He eats an apple today, but then it snaps back because he's still a fat man at the end of the day. It's this that we have to change. This is your identity, your self-image. This video would get so many more views if I just linked you like some website blockers and I said, oh, if you just want to block like a website, then you can go click on this and download this Chrome extension. That'd really help, guys. But if it was that simple, everyone would have one and everyone would literally be successful in never watching porn again, wouldn't they? But it's not that simple, because that's not the issue.